All right, today we're going to learn how to round to different place values. So we'll learn how to round to the nearest whole, aka the ones place. We'll learn how to round to the nearest tenths place and the hundredths place. And we can use a number line model and the think money strategy to help us round to any old place. Let's get started. Cool. So Domo says when we round to the nearest whole, the ones place, we can think which two whole dollars is our number in between. These will become our endpoints. So let's look at the number we're asked to round, 6 and 82 hundredths. We want to round to the ones place, so I'm going to start in the biggest place value. I'm going to stop in the ones place. Oh, look, it's just one digit, the 6. 6 wholes, 6 whole dollars. That will become one of my endpoints. And since we're rounding to the ones, I'm going to add one more dollar to 6, and I get 7. So those are our endpoints. Check, we did it, yay! 2, label our midpoint. Before I do that, I might want to think, all right, 6 holes is kind of like $6. 7 holes is $7. And what's smack dab in the middle? $6.50. And then we can think, okay, our target number, 6 and 82 hundredths, $6.82. Is it before our midpoint, on our midpoint, or after our midpoint? Yep, $6.82 is more than $6.50. It's about right here. And then we're going to think, since we're rounding to the nearest whole, our only options is what is in the blue squares, our endpoints, 6 holes or 7 holes. What's it closer to? If you said 7 holes, ding, 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 you're right. So 6 and 82 hundredths is about 7 when rounded to the nearest whole place. Boop. Moving on. All right, a little bit more of a challenge. We're still going to be rounding to the nearest whole, the ones place, but now we have 76 and 48 hundredths, or $76.48. So I'm going to start underlining my biggest place value, but I'm going to stop in the place I'm rounding to. Oh, we're rounding to the ones place. I'm going to stop in the ones place. This is my first endpoint. So I know $76.48 is in between $76 that I'll add one more dollar and $77. It's somewhere on this number line. Did that. Now I'm going to think about money. I got $76.00, $77.00, and right in the middle is $76.50. And we're going to ask ourselves, all right, self, $76.48, is it more or less than $76.50? Yeah, it's 2 pennies less, it's 2 hundredths less than $76.50. It's about right here. And since it hasn't quite reached the midpoint yet, it's closer to 76 whole dollars. So it's going to round to $76. Cool, moving on. You've unlocked a new level! What's up? All right, cool. So we've done rounding to the nearest whole, and now we're going to move on to rounding to the nearest tenth. Congratulations! And this problem is on your homework. So when we round to the nearest tenth, your rounded number will end in the tenths place. And ask yourself, which two multiples of a tenth is your number in between? And we can use that same underlining strategy. I'm going to start in my biggest place value, and I'm going to stop in the place I'm rounding to, aka my tenths place. The digit 4 is in the tenths place. I'm going to stop there. And guess what? 76 and 4/10, that is my first endpoint. Boom. And then just like we did in class with our count around, what's the next tenth? 76 and 5/10. That's going to be our next endpoint. Now our answer, since we're rounding to the nearest tenth, can only be one of these 2 yellow highlighted numbers because they both stop in the tenths place. But to be able to use the think money strategy, I might jot underneath how much money this is. $76.40, $76.50, and right in the middle, our midpoint is $76.45. Cool. So now all of my brain work my thinking work is just about done. One more thing to think about. Where would $76.48 fall on this number line? It's going to be a little bit after $76.45, around right here. Since it's after our midpoint, it's closer to this multiple of 1/10. So it's closer to 76 and 5/10. Notice how, since we're rounding to the tens place, our answer is going to end in the tens place, 76 and 5/10. All right, guys, last one, another level up. And this is another homework question. Now we want to round to the nearest hundredth. Your rounded number will end in the hundredth place. What digit is that? You know, Domo. I know, I'm just kidding. It's the 7. All right, cool. So just like before, we're going to start in our biggest place value, and we are going to underline until we hit the place value that we're rounding to. In this case, the hundredth place, that digit 7. This is going to tell us our first endpoint. So one possible answer to this question of what this number rounds to will be 22 and 97 hundredths. If I add one more penny, one more cent, one more hundredth, we get $22.98. These are our only two options for an answer when rounding this to the nearest hundredth. But now we're going to make life easier. And since 22 and 971 thousandths goes into the thousandths place, underneath I'm going to write the equivalent amount of thousands. Make that invisible 0 visible. So I have 22 and 970 thousandths, 22 and 980 thousandths. And this will make it friendlier for us to think about the midpoint. So our midpoint is going to be 22 and 975 thousandths. This is only 971 thousandths. That's less than 975 thousandths. So 22 and 971 thousandths will be before 22 and 975 thousandths. Boom. It's going to be pretty close right here. 22 and 971 thousandths. The highlighted yellow numbers are our only options because those are the numbers into the hundredth place. Those are our endpoints. And we know that 22 and 971 thousandths is closer, much closer, to 22 and 97 hundredths than it is to 22 and 98 hundredths. And again, our rounded number ends in the place that we're being asked to round to. Whew! Challenging stuff, kiddos, but I'm super proud of you and I'm getting dizzy. Until next time, bye. All right, later, kiddos.